Today I'd like to show you the next step on the weaving project. Previously you have added the what we call warp threads by wrapping the string or the yarn around your CD. Today I want to show you how to add the weft. The weft threads on a weaving are the ones that typically go horizontally from left to right, so I always remember that weft rhymes with left, and the weft threads rather go right to left. So you're going to start today with your color harmony. So you're going to select your color harmony and then choose some colors within that. You're going to cut off an arm's length of yarn. So I would define an arm's length as the distance between your arm held out straight and your nose. That's an arm's length, and it's easy to work with. We're going to be using these large weaving needles that have a large eye here that are easy to get the yarn through. Some people like to tie the yarn onto the needle. I'm going to recommend that you not do that, but rather that you just loop it over a little bit to keep it in the eye of the needle. And then we're going to start weaving by choosing any starting point on your CD, and it doesn't matter where. You're going to put the needle under one of the warp threads and then over, under, over, under, over, under. I always like to end with an under because then I can remember that when I start again, it's an over. Then you don't have to think. So what you're going to do is do that little bit of weaving. Since it's circular, you can't go all the way around with the needle at once because the needle is straight. And then you're going to just pull it through very delicately until the end of the yarn is at one of the unders. And then you're going to just kind of push it down and gently tug until that first row is snug up against the center of the disc. Now I always end with an under, so I know there's my under, and I know I'm going to start again with an over. So this is an over, under, over, under, over, under. Stop with an under, so I know that I can start with an over, and then pull it. I'm going to repeat that process all the way around. So I had stopped with an under, so this is an over, under, over, under, over, under. And if I've done this right, when I get all the way back to the beginning again, I'm going to find that I am now ready for an over on the first string, which was in the previous row an under. So this time I can look at the yarn on the first round and always know what to do on the second round because I'm going to do the opposite of that thing. So in this case, this was an over right here. So on the second round, it's going to be an under. So it's always the opposite of the round before. When I pull this one through, you'll see a pattern start to emerge. So you can see that it alternates over, under. On the third round, it's going to be over again. So let me do quickly one more go round so that you can see. Now I'm ready for the third round, and here you can see how, because it was an over, then an under, on the third round it's an over, this is an over, so now it's an under, and so on, and it just keeps going like that, alternating on the warp thread over, under. So you want to make sure that you're checking and noticing that each one goes over, under as you go up the warp thread. Be careful not to pull this too tight. You want to see each string. You also want to see that little bit of warp thread in your weaving. If you push these down too tight, then everything is going to start pulling and not look as pretty as it could. So you want to make sure not to pull that too tight. You're going to keep going until you use up this yarn, and I'm not going to do that right now, but let's assume that I was ready for a new color. Then I would take my new piece of yarn, thread it through my needle, and then I can start pretty much anywhere I want to, as long as you pull it to where it should be an under. So since this was an over, on this row it's going to be an under. So I'm going to start the same way I started my first round. Weave it through a few times, pull it until the end of that yarn is tucked under the warp thread. And then I'm ready to keep going. Of course, this yarn would not be there because I would have woven the whole thing. So see how that lines up? So each time it alternates. Want you to think, what's my color harmony? Everybody think about that.